Sigmund Freud spent all his life trying to understand dreams, interpreting dreams. But he never sat in meditation. He never observed his own dreams while he was awake. His interpretation was secondhand, based on what people were telling about their dreams. Yes, he interpreted a little bit of his dreams, but it's mostly dreams of those he was interacting with. Already filtered through their prejudice, already filtered through their mind. And here is another mind, which again has its own filtering mechanism, trying to understand and interpret dreams without knowing the individual behind. When we identify a problem, let's take anger. A person comes to you, you're a psychotherapist, and he says, I get angry for no reason. Where do you begin? Do you begin with, okay, what makes you angry? Why do you get angry? When did this all start? This is a totally surface level, superficial way of addressing the problem. If a person is suffering from anger, that anger is directly connected to everything that person has ever done. None of our emotions are isolated, are separate. We only have different words for it. On the inside, we can't even separate different emotions. We can't even separate clearly what is the difference between anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, worry. We don't even know. On the inside, they all are same. Fear leads to anger. Worry leads to anger. Stress leads to anger. And anger leads to fear. Anger leads to stress. One thing is becoming another. These words that we try to cage ideas inside don't work on the inside. That is why psychotherapy is all about words, all about ideas, all about structures. While you're listening to it, it makes sense. Oh, this person is understanding what I'm going through. But the moment you step inside, where actually these things are happening, all labels are discarded. The first thing the mind does is it throws away labels so that it can play freely with ideas. So there is no distinction between one emotion and another. It's only when you're experiencing, when you are fully aware, you can label it. When you're not aware, when you're not labeling it, all your emotions together are shaping your world of thoughts and your reality on the outside. The approach should be total, not just individual. An individual is a product of the society. An individual is a reflection of the society. If there are problems on the outside, if the structures are creating the problems, no matter what you do with the individual, eventually when you leave him in the world, he'll pick it all up. It's like saying, okay, I see the problem. You're very dirty. Go take a bath. He takes a bath, he comes out. The moment he goes into the world, he gets dirty again. Because that's the nature of interaction. See, the way we have created our society, the way we have arranged the structures of the society naturally induces all kinds of fears and insecurities. Because it is a structure that has emerged out of fear and insecurity. Think about it. Everything we do in the world is in some way connected to, I want to do this because it keeps me secure. It helps me to deal with some of my fears. Now, what happens when you start walking that path faster and faster? You will forget yourself completely and you will see yourself as a problem. My life is a problem that needs to be solved. And the way to solve it is by accomplishing as much, getting as much, doing as much. In that whole process, we forget where we have come from. We forget that all our three-dimensional experiences are limited. Food, as tasty as it may be, it is still a limited experience. What is the ultimate taste of food? Is no taste, where there is no necessity to reflect on taste. There is no need. The reason why we enjoy food is when we are not eating, something is missing. To fill that completeness, we go towards food. To fill that completeness, we go towards sensual pleasures. To fill that completeness, we need excitement. We need emotional connection. We need things on the outside. Because we have shifted away from our home and we are outside now. When we are outside, we are never comfortable unless we are constantly being entertained and we are engaged in doing something. We get bored, we get depressed, we feel lost because we are not home. So the most important job of psychotherapy should be to introduce an individual to their true home. And it is not a difficult concept to understand. For a mind that has become noisy and chaotic, a single moment of silence is home. For a body that has become used to movement and action and activity, a single moment of stillness is home. Home is not a place. Home is recognizing certain existential qualities that complete us. Silence completes us. Stillness completes us. A moment of beingness completes us because that's our home. That's where we truly belong. Now, the problem is we cannot be at home either in the past or in the future. We can only be at home in the now. Our home begins with the now and extends deeper. It goes very deep, very wide, and unlimited. What is the meaning of psychotherapy when we are unaware of this ocean that we truly are? We are the ocean of consciousness. The waving is what we recognize as the body and the mind. Now, can you solve the problem of the ocean by treating the wave? You can't. You cannot solve a wave, because if you solve a wave, another wave will arise. You solve one problem, another problem will arise. How can addressing one specific problem individually, isolatedly work when the individual is an indivisible totality? When everything is connected. Think about it. When we talk about, let's say, a childhood trauma, something has happened and it has created a deep impact. And from there, certain fears, certain insecurities have become rigid structures. Now, if this is true for that individual, then almost everything that individual does on the inside, on the outside, will have shades and reflections of this insecurity. There is no way to isolate it fully. Because you are one. You cannot compartmentalize experiences. Now, how do you address this problem? You cannot isolate it. See, this is how we deal with problems in the world. In the world, it is, okay, this is the structure. Okay, let's say a building. I see the problem. Let me isolate the problem. Let me go deeper into it. Let me fix it. It works. Why does it work? Because in the outside world, there is no oneness. There is no totality. We have arranged things in bits and pieces. So our world is made up of parts, individual structures, separate structures. Hence, this approach works. The repairing approach works. I just have to go and fix it. But we take the same approach for the individual and we are failing. How can we take this repair approach and solve psychological problems? Firstly, is there a difference between a psychological problem, a physical problem, a spiritual problem, and an emotional problem? Or are these simply labelings? If a person is struggling to connect with their spiritual identity, doesn't that also mean that they are psychologically searching for the answers? How is psychology different from spirituality? How can meditation be different from a conversation that you're having with yourself when both happen within the same space? We need a totally different, a radically different approach of addressing the problem. We have to look at the problem as existential, not individual. We need to remove the individual away from the problem. The moment we remove the individual away from the problem, now you're no longer dealing with your prejudices of the problem and of the individual. No matter what the problem is, no matter how deep the sickness is, no matter how crazy, you should never ever attach that to the individual and say, I am dealing with a crazy person. I am dealing with someone to whom something has gone wrong. No, nothing has gone wrong. The individual is hidden. That's it. Your job is to bring that hidden individual out, to show that individual to himself, to herself. That's it. You don't clear the problem out. The individual is the light that removes the darkness of thoughts, that removes the darkness of fear and uncertainty. It's because heaps and heaps of ideas have covered up the individual. His light is not strong enough to illuminate his own being, to see his own problems and deal with it. It does not matter what you do to clear out the problem. If you don't introduce the individual to the source, to the light, then again the accumulation happens. How much time can you spend with your client? An hour in a day? 2 hours? 3 hours? There are 24 hours in a day. No matter what you do during the day, this idiot goes back to sleep and picks up everything. In one session of sleep, in 5 hours, he's back. Because there's no control in the sleep. There's no control what you identify with, what you entertain. And how can psychotherapy work when we don't know what this individual is doing? He sleeps and he goes into that deep unconscious. But there is a way. It's just a matter of introducing the individual to the individual. What does it mean to be you? The identification has become so strong that the individual feels when he is angry, he is the anger. When he is suffering, he is the suffering. There is no separation at all. So all the methods and techniques should be to create a gap between the individual and the experiences. There has to be some real space that needs to be created. Now, this cannot happen through just conversations. This cannot happen through just providing new structures to their thought patterns. You have to make them learn how to be more than anything else. How do you come to the now and be there? It's okay, you can have your problems, you can have your fears, you can have your insecurities. But why don't you be there as a witness, as someone who is going through all these experiences to watch it, to see what's happening. Don't run away from your problems. Don't hide your problems. Don't become so busy that you can't acknowledge your problems. It all boils down to, are you spending some time every day in silence?